At least I got his skills done. 12 rogue talents. Oh god, I gotta look through rogue talents. I better open up my this man, there's a lot in legendary rogues. I mean, it's all in legendary rogues? I better open that up. Got a whole table. Jeez. What do I want this fucker to have? Agile climber, agonizing attack, continuous damage, must be at least 6th level. That's not a bad idea. Artful adds charisma bonus AC against attacks of opportunity. It's not a bad idea either. What's this guy's charisma? 20? 20. Assassinate. Must be 10th level. Assault leader. Blind scent. It's not a bad idea. Blind sight. Blind sight. Brutal beating. Calls into his second forward round. Charmer. Can roll twice while making him take the benefit of choose to use his talent before I roll. Can use a good one to table. His ability to make the accomplish check against an originality to move the next range. I could see this NPC having Charmer. Is that on my list? It's in the advanced players guide. Did they change the name? Certainty chooses one. They changed it to certainty. One of the they selected with Rogue's Edge once per day to take the better result. They can use this reroll every 5. Is that the same one? Okay, so certainty selected the Rogue's Edge. Oh, what's their ranks in diplomacy? Did I get? I didn't give them any ranks in diplomacy. Was it because of the oratory? So I gave them for Okay, so certainty. Well, no, I could do certainty. Rogue's Edge perfume. Skill unlocks. Whenever you attempt a perform check to whenever you cast a spell with the emotion, whenever you cast a spell with the emotion, choose one of the following skills when you attempt a skill check. That skill you attempt a perform check. Oh, well, if I give them Rogue's Edge, because I didn't pick their Rogue's Edge, and then give them Certainty, perform Oratory. I didn't pick their Rogue's Edge. How many am I supposed to pick? Rogue's Edge. Form. And it's probably Bluff. I'd say Bluff. Bluff and perform. Give them certainty, which is day, additional time per day, 10, okay. I take it twice with bluff. I'm gonna take it twice for them. Screw it. Screw it. Hmm. Oh, hey Lily, how's it going? Uh, what's the portion of the thing you allow yourself to show in live when prepping? I show my documents. Like right now, I'm working on an NPC for my Age of Worms game. I also show archives of Nephis. Um, 'Cause I use this site a lot to, look up feats, stuff from Pathfinder. Stuff from D&D. I'll use this or D&D. Yeah, D&D tools. Like if I need something from, if I'm looking up a spell from like one of the third edition D&D books, I'll type in like, let me think of a spell. Uh, I got Beast Speak spell from Masters of What. We go to here it is. Oh, that's Pathfinder. Okay. And what's I'm trying to think of a D&D spell. Um, but yeah. Anyway, you get the point. Uh, yeah. I mix it up. I I run Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, and then they did fourth edition, which was absolutely terrible and garbage. And but a lot of people that still liked D&D 3.5, they switched to Pathfinder first edition because the game rules are very, very, very close. Actually, Pathfinder First Edition, as a joke, they call it D&D 3.75. So instead of 3.5e, it's 3.75e because they're very, very compatible. There's some changes. There's quite a few big changes, but I'd say like 90% of the games of both systems are very similar. Are you playing NPC in D&D? But so when Pathfinder First Edition came out, me and my players talked about it. We're like, there's a lot of cool stuff in here we could use for our D&D games. And so we talked about maybe doing a hybrid, putting them together. Like if we're playing D&D and we're in Forgotten Realms, we could still use some of the Pathfinder classes and feats, and same vice versa. I'm running Pathfinder Rise of the Rune Lords, but there's some stuff on the characters that they got from D&D. Some of the feats that they got, some of the spells that they use, some of it's from D&D. Um, so yeah, it works out pretty well. You know, we use the Pathfinder version of the classes. We alter some stuff here or there uh, to make it more I guess viable. But yeah, In fact, my D&D game, I think every player is playing a Pathfinder class except for the Paladin. The Paladin's the only one. Although it's the Pathfinder version of the Paladin, but like the rest of the group, it's in a Forgotten Realms game, and we got one who's a witch, one who's the witch class, one who's a gunslinger, one who's a summoner, and one who's a war priest. Oh, the bard. Okay, I can't forget the bard. So the bard and the paladin, but they're using the Pathfinder version of the bard and paladin. But still, Pathfinder classes only. Yeah, gunslinger, witch, summoner, and war priest. Ended up married with two goblins, and she's pregnant with triplets. Wow. Yeah, it's been working out. Mixing them together. Um, Obviously, I don't mix like campaign related things. Like there's some Pathfinder prestige classes that are very tied to the setting, and I don't use those in D&D because it doesn't make sense. I think there's a prestige class called the Arc Lord of Nex or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, that's very campaign. That's very world specific. We're not gonna use that in our D&D game. Same with Pathfinder. Like I had a one of my one of my players for our next Pathfinder campaign, because after we're done with Rise of the Rune Lords, we're like in the last half of like chapter 6. We're almost done with Rise of the Rune Lords. Um, we're gonna do Curse of the Crimson Throne, and he asked me if he could play an artificer, and I'm like, uh, Galarian doesn't have artificers. Like, if I let you play an artificer, we're gonna have to do a whole background on like your character being from a different, being from a different multiverse, and how did he get to Galarian, and uh, how what's he doing to help develop his artificer abilities? 'Cause there's no artificers in Galarian. There's at least not the class, the D&D version of the class. I told him he could play an inventor. I know inventor is Pathfinder Second Edition, but somebody wrote a book on the Pathfinder Infinite site where they redid the inventor class as in first edition, and I bought that book. So I told him he could play the com- the converted inventor class. But nah, he chose to play a cleric. I know that's a big pivot. You go from artificer to cleric. I have mixed feelings with second edition Pathfinder. Um, I It came at a time because like I follow the forums and I follow a lot of because I was hardcore following like the message boards and a lot of the players and a lot of the staff, everything that they're saying and everything. I've been following the game very closely, and I didn't really see a lot of people like wanting a second edition Pathfinder. It was actually running pretty good just the way it was, and then just it just felt like out of nowhere they're like, "Yeah, we're just doing second edition." And I noticed it coincided with 5th edition D&D beating them in sales constantly, because when 4th edition D&D came out, Pathfinder first edition was whooping their ass like in sales every quarter. They were just whooping it because I would pay attention to the market with there's a website called EN World that shows you like how good the systems are doing. And Pathfinder First Edition was whooping D&D Fourth Edition's ass constantly, year after year after year. And then when Fifth Edition came out, year after year after year, fifth edition started doing better than first edition Pathfinder. And I'm like, well, that's just because it's a new system and it appeals to a lot of like casuals and it's a simpler system. I'm like, that doesn't mean first edition's bad or sucks or it's just it's just a new kid on the block. And I feel like they made second edition just to compete with fifth edition and not really for the fact that we needed a second edition. They did it. I mean, I understand it's a business. They got to make money, so they did it to like get a big cash flow. Whatever. I just wish they continue to support first edition, like here and there, and but they didn't. Hey Danielle, how's it going? Oh well, no, the copyright issues thing was no, because Pathfinder Second Edition, they kept a lot of the stuff. Like they still kept owl bears, and they changed some of the lore. Okay, that was the other problem. I'm gonna pivot. That was the segue. That's the other issue I had with Second Edition Pathfinder is they were retconning the lore, and I'm a big lore guy. Like I love learning about the world, and I love learning about like the NPCs and the different places and the magic and not just as much as I care about the like the game mechanics, I like the lore of the world of the setting. And it leaves a really sour taste in my mouth when they retcon. If they make little changes here or there, understandable, it's not a big deal. But when they like just completely change something or completely omit things, um like they did that with second edition. But the first one of the things they did with second edition Pathfinder was they got rid of the inevitables. And I love the lore of the inevitables in first edition, and they were building up some pretty good lore with them. Not as much as I'd like, but I liked what I was reading. And then second edition, they're like, oh, we're getting rid of inevitables, and we're gonna make it the Aeons, and we're gonna make Aeons lawful neutral instead of just pure. I'm like, wait, I like Aeons the way they were, and I like inevitables the way they. And now you're getting rid of inevitables, and you're pulling them into Aeons. I'm like, no, I don't like that. Um, but moving ahead, yeah, the remaster. The remaster was the one where they wanted to. Was the one where they wanted to avoid the copyright thing uh because of the OGL issues, and they pretty much got scared and were like, "Oh, we're just gonna do our own thing." And so they came out with remaster, and like when they came out with remaster, they changed. They had it. I mean, they changed all the lore. No owl bears. The drow elves. I remember the drow elves were a big thing. There's a whole adventure path on drow elves, and there's a whole planet. I think there's a whole planet in Starfinder of drow elves, and they're just like gone. And I'm like, "Ugh, I hate that. I hate it. It bothers me. It really does. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't let it bother me. I should just accept the game for what it is, but it's painful, is what it is. Can I run down Pathfinder for you as a seasoned DM? And yeah, yeah, sure thing. Yeah. Also, like, explain. You want me to like explain like the difference between like Pathfinder and D&D? Okay. So as you're aware, Dungeons and Dragons has had multiple editions, and um, hopefully they stop that because I feel like every time an edition comes out, at least with D&D, it splits the fan base because you're just gonna. I mean, I guess you get new players at the same time, like your old players, like they get left behind. They're like, nah, we still like this system, and so you don't you lose that base, and you're just getting a new base. and it just but like the more additions you make, you're splitting the fan base more and more and more. It's like what D&D 10th edition. Now you got 10 different groups of people playing D&D. It's like just I don't know. The edition thing annoys me. Uh, I feel like editions should be very 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 like rare. It should be not only a big thing but a rare thing. It shouldn't happen so often. And I've lived through what four and a half, no, five different editions of D&D if you count 3.5 and now 5.5 E. It's like in like my 30 years I've gone through like five editions of D&D. Like, come on. But so with Dungeons and Dragons 3.5E, it was running great and I wasn't doing bad sales wise. But I how do I explain this? So I'm going to explain where Pathfinder came from because Pathfinder and D&D are very similar, and there's a reason for that. Although not so much nowadays, but they're still very, very close in a lot of like a lot of the game mechanics, and even in some of even in the play style. Um, but with Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, it was doing good, and out of nowhere, they're like, "All right, we're doing fourth edition," and then they started rolling out fourth edition um like previews, and nobody liked I mean, very very little people liked what they were seeing. um so anyway, fourth edition comes out, and paizo Paizo used to do Dragon and Dungeon magazines. They used to publish the Wizards of the Coast gave them the license to publish their Dragon magazines and the Dungeon magazines, which were great. I love the magazines. They were official D&D content. Dragon magazine gave you like all sorts of different like new rules, new some advice, new like all sorts of different articles on covering all sorts of different things. And then Dungeon magazine covered adventures. You would have like 3 to 4 adventures in a magazine, and you run them right out the magazine. Um, Heisel used to uh, was hired to publish those magazines, and then they took the license away because Wizards of the Coast decided to do the magazines online in house. So then Paizo, they were already releasing their own stuff. They were releasing the first, I think it was they were releasing a couple of adventures. Um, and then when fourth edition came, a lot of companies had to make the choice. Either they were going to stick with 3.5, or they were going to stick with like the 3.5 license, the open gaming license, or if they were going to switch to fourth edition. And there were some that did not switch to fourth edition, and Paizo was one of them. Paizo was like, you know what, we're going to do our own game based on Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, but we're going to change things up. And so that's how Pathfinder began. So Pathfinder um, first edition, Pathfinder first edition. If you were to compare the game system and the mechanics to D&D 3.5, they're very very similar. I was telling Lily, they're like 90% similar. A lot of the big changes they did was like they did some changes with the combat. They did some changes with the classes, with the skill system. They changed some. They changed They streamlined the skill system some more. Um, but for the most part, they're very similar. And so like all the angry people, including myself, that didn't want to have anything to do with fourth edition, we jumped ship and went to Pathfinder first edition. So that's the gist of the difference between the two. Um, Pathfinder second edition, it's in some ways it's similar to first edition, and in a lot of other ways it's not. Um, they also did it to compete with fifth edition because fifth edition was whipping ass when it came out year after year. So half Heizo was like, "Oh, we need to compete, so let's make a new edition and streamline it some more." Um, so so yeah, that's I mean that's where I feel where second edition came from. It's too it was too big of a change for me, so I stayed with Pathfinder first edition. And then I I don't know if either of you are. I think Lily might be aware. Yeah, Lily, you're aware of the whole OGL fiasco situation. Danielle, I don't know if you are. I would look up. I think if you typed. I think if you type in OGL fiasco, let me see. Uh, OGL fiasco. Okay, well, there's a Reddit thing that probably took. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the open gaming license controversy. Yeah, you'll be able to. Anyway, there was a big controversy about that. It freaked out anybody that was using the OGL system, which covered which was with Pathfinder First Edition was one of them, and they uh, they were like, no, we're gonna stay further away. Plus, they wanted to make it their own game. They didn't want to latch onto D&D too closely because a lot of stuff from D&D it was in Pathfinder, like chromatic dragons, metallic dragons, owl bears, drow elves, uh, a lot of the demons and the devils, some of the celestials, troglodytes, all sorts of creatures. From the OGL. They wanted to stay further away from that, and they wanted to make Pathfinder more their thing. So then they're like, we're gonna do Pathfinder remaster. Basically, it's 2.5. I call it Pathfinder 2.5e because it's really what it is. Um, but yeah, they re-released Pathfinder Second Edition under a new set of like game mechanics and game lore, and because of the OGL fiasco. Um, there are some between second edition Pathfinder and second edition remastered. There are definitely some differences. Definitely some big differences too. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed. I'm over here talking and I missed the. I'm now looking at the chat. I'm so sorry. When I talk, I'll keep going for a while. But yeah, Lily, if you're there, you probably left already. But thanks for stopping by and talk to you later. Um, but yeah, that's I guess to summarize it further, Pathfinder Pathfinder and D&D, very very similar. Um, Pathfinder now is a lot further away from D&D than it used to be in terms of like the game mechanics and the game lore as well. In the beginning, not so much. In the beginning, it was they were very similar, even in the game lore, because they used everything in the OGL, the chromatic dragons, metallic dragons, like I said earlier, demons, devils, drow elves. Um, but of course, their drow elves were different. There's no Lolth. There's no. I think their drow elves were. Which I like the way the elves are in Pathfinder. I like the way their eyes are. They changed they like their eyes compared to like D&D's elves. Like the elves in Pathfinder, they have like a solid color of eyes. Like it'll be like a rich deep blue with like maybe the iris would be like a little lighter blue or whatever, but like I like it. It kind of makes them look a little like alien like in a sense, but not too crazy. Um and like the elves in Galarian, they adapt. So like whatever region the elves have been living in for a period of time, like say there's a group of elves and they live in the far north mountains, high in the mountains. I think after like one elven generation or two elven generations, their bodies and physiology will like adapt and change over time. Um, which I thought was pretty neat because now you have like all these different subraces of elves and you have an explanation for like why there's different like types of elves. But I thought that was pretty cool. But the lore story of Pathfinder, like how D&D has Forgotten Realms. Um, when I read the game lore for Pathfinder, it is very, very different. It's very high magic, um, very diverse. Honestly, and we're just talking Forgotten Realms because D&D has other settings and other worlds, and Forgotten Realms is the big one. And it wasn't. It never used to be Forgotten Realms. It used to be Greyhawk, but Forgotten Realms got more and more popular over time. And even I had switched to Forgotten Realms. Um, I used to run Ravenloft and Planescape, and I love Ravenloft and Planescape. I still love Ravenloft and Planescape. And then I kept seeing Forgotten Realms products, and I bought the box set. I'm like, you know what? What is the big deal with this setting? I don't know much anything about it. I had my homebrew setting. I had Ravenloft, and I had Planescape, and I was like, what? So I bought the box set, and I read it, and I fell in love with it because it was so rich and so detailed and so uh, it was just and in high fantasy. I was just like, okay, now I understand why it's a big deal. Um, but the thing that I've always started saying lately is the world of Galarian. I wish the Pathfinder setting of Galarian and its world and even its solar system with the other planets and stuff. I wish Forgotten Realms was more like Galarian because Pathfinder does like the diverse culture and settings better than Forgotten Realms did. Forgotten Realms, that world, it it's diverse and it's not at the same time. Like a lot of it's like Celtic and uh like North. A lot of it's Euro fantasy. It's still a lot of like European fantasy. And there are areas of Forgotten Realms where it's based off of like some real world. Like there's Haratur, which is entirely all Asian, and then there's Machiko, which is like Mesoamerican and like Aztec, and then there's Zakar, which is supposed to be very as Persian and Middle Eastern. Um, Unfortunately, the Zakar setting and the Masika setting and the Carter setting very whitewashed. Very, you can tell they had no consultation on how they should write those settings. And so instead of like redoing it, Wizards of the Coast, like you'll see mentions of it in Forgotten Realms of those places, but they won't cover those places. They won't like redo it. And I'm like, just redo it. What do you like? You virtual signal about like being diverse in your gaming, and like you won't fix Karatur, you won't fix Sakara, you won't. It's whatever. Um, but um, but yeah, I from what I've been reading with the Pathfinder lore, I like it a lot. It's like it's nothing like Forgotten Realms, and I wish Forgotten Realms took more like you use more of their not their ideas, but like the only thing I wish Forgotten Realms did was yeah, like I said, I wish they did the diversity of the settings as good as Pathfinder did because you go to Galarian, there's an area that has very strong influence of like North of like African culture. and all the various countries and like from the real world. So you can tell, and it's not like disrespectful either. It's you can like Paizo gets the consultants. They get the people from the culture to like, hey, we want your culture, but as a fantasy game. But we don't want to disrespect your culture. So we want you to write this. And so so you have places that are that you can tell are like based off of like Indian like fantasy and uh based off of like Slavic fantasy and areas that are based off of Egyptian fantasy. Um, and even more than that, they got an area in Galarian where if you wanted to have a pirate setting, boom. There's a place in Galarian that's super sci-fi. It's a super sci-fi place. It's apparently like a spaceship, massive spaceship had crash landed in the region, and uh, all this technology on there like is like available to the people that were there, and so like there's a nation in Galarian that's like got robots and fucking and like nanotechnology kind of shit. Um, there's an area there's a region of the game of the world where if you wanted to play like a very fantasy like Western gunslinger kind of steampunk, there's a steampunk area. And I like that. I like that diversity. If you wanted, and then you have the continent of Tianxia on the other side of the world. All the Asian fantasy is there, and they got Asian writers to like work on that. Hey, what's up, Gift of Gabby? Okay, Danielle. I'll talk to you later. But yeah, thanks for coming by. Thanks for chatting. And yeah, if there's any other questions, you could hit me up on Discord. Um, and I'll be glad to like explain anything that you want. PF1E and or PF2E. Um, I run PF1E. I have not. I don't know if I'll ever run. I'll play PF2E, but I don't think I'll ever run it. Um, I'm enjoying first edition. There's still a lot of first edition Pathfinder I still want to do. I also mix it. I mix it with D&D 3.5. So like, if I'm running a game that's set in Galarian, I do allow my players to use stuff from D&D 3.5, like the feats and the spells and some of the prestige classes, etc. And some of the rules like skill tricks and you know, uh, and the same vice versa. When I run my D&D games, it's 3.5. I run it in Forgotten Realms, and I allow Pathfinder stuff. The two EPDFs, yeah, I got them all too. Um, I've read I got them, but I didn't really read them. I've been reading the remaster ones because I was trying to find the game to play in, and oh, thanks for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Oh, looks like my wife's printing something. The printer just turned on out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay. Um, but yeah, I've been reading. Started reading the remaster because what did she print? Um, because I was trying to find a PF2 game to join in my area. I wanted to do the Pathfinder Society, but I didn't get a chance to. My schedule was open at the time, and then it got filled up. So I was like, ah. Plus, I was trying to do it. I was trying to do it with a buddy of mine, but his schedule's busy, and I'm like, ah. But I would definitely have fun playing in one, but I don't think I'll ever run it. right now I am trying to um work on I'm running Age of Worms for D&D, and I had to put it on hiatus because I'm behind on my prep work. um but yeah, I'm working on statting up some NPCs and getting some story elements out the way that I have in my head, but I didn't really get it down on paper or computer. Um, yeah, I've got 6 players, and they all deserve character development and their characters like background stories to have some closure to some of what's been going on with them, and I've been very behind on that. And so I told them, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna need time to like put this together, so I'm gonna have to put this on hiatus. Yeah, those humble bundles are good. I'm surprised. I'm surprised at like how much you get for like the price that you pay. Oh, you read Age of Worms? Yes. Um, I'm using the Forgotten Realms conversion notes, and I've also changed up some of the story elements personally. Like I've added different takes to it as well. Like I've got Shar involved. Um, and what else did I do? But yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's definitely a few changes I made to it to like I guess fit the characters better. Um, but so far Age of Worms is going pretty good. We're on chapter 8 of Age of Worms. They just finished chapter 7. They're having downtime. So we do a lot of stuff off panel. Like all we try to do a lot of the game mechanic stuff like not in stream. Um, because who wants to watch that really? I mean, maybe you have a few who are interested in watching us like figure out what magic items is going to be crafted and how much things are going to cost and what, but me personally, I'm sure that's boring. Boring to me as a DM. I like doing that shit like away from the game. We talk on WhatsApp. We're like, hey, what's your characters doing with the shit that they got? Oh, well, we're gonna get rid of this and we're gonna sell that and we're gonna I'd like my cloak upgraded and I'd like my gun upgraded, Baron. Okay. There are campaign settings of D&D I wish I ran and I regret not doing something with them. And Eberron is one of them. I do like Eberron. Um, and going further back, because I started in second edition, I wish I ran Spelljammer. I wish I knew about it, and I thought it was cool then, but I never got the books, and I mean, I have them now as PDFs, but like, before the PDF thing, and my, in the old days, I need a filter to like make myself super old, because I definitely sound old when I talk about, yeah, we used to use grid paper for battle maps and not roll 20. But yeah, I didn't buy the books, and I wish I did, and I wish I ran some Spelljammer. Um, there's been times the guys wanted to do like Spelljammer third edition, but there's no third edition. There's nothing. Third edition stuff for Spelljammer is it's not. There's a fan website that's converted it, but I don't know. It would for me to run Spelljammer now it would take a lot of work. But I've been reading up on some Spelljammer now and then because I do want to do a session or two involving Spelljammer. Not a whole campaign, but like I definitely want to take my characters to some Spelljammer shit. But Eberron is the other one I wish that I ran. I've read up on some Eberron. Not all of it, but I think I've read the setting book. I've read the core book, the core campaign setting book. I have read through that. Um, I haven't read through any of the supplements. Mm, right now, so I don't know if it's showing. Yeah, so the ominous Fabler. I'm statting this guy out for Age of Worms. Honestly, I only needed his skill boosts, but then I found out this NPC is going to show up later in the game in the adventure path. So I'm trying to do all of his stats. The other, and I know I have ADHD because my fucking mind is all over the place. And it's hard for me to focus. But the other one that I'm trying to do at the same time is this one. Um, this is the sister of one of the players, and I'm stuck on what to make her. I thought about making her a sorcerer with the Serpentine bloodline, and because because they're from a region where there's a lot of Yuan-Ti, and so I was like, oh well, it would make sense for them to have some Yuan-Ti blood in their veins somewhere, some serpentine bloodline. But then I was like, I also want to make her a psionic character. I was like, I think it'd be cool if her psionics had developed. So I'm trying to figure out what psionic class would work for her. And I'm stuck on like what I'm basically stuck on what class I want to make. I don't know if I want to make her a magic user or psionic user. Although I could do both. There is a prestige class that combines the two. Currently reading 1996 second edition D&D. Also, you got the old school shit too, just like me. Okay. I have almost I still they're still in my basement. I have almost all the complete books. Um, I don't know which ones I'm missing, but yeah, yeah. But I completed and it's good. I got it. It's good. Ignoring the minimal mechanics aside, it's so good for world building and fleshing out character. Right, those second edition, man. Don't get me started. My buddy, my buddy Tony, fucking gives me shit so much. He's like, "You old fuck." He's like, "What do you call me?" He's like, "You're a D&D boomer." I'm like, "Listen, I don't mind." I'm like, I'm all for progressive this, like there should be more non-European fantasy as well as non-European like people in like the game lore. I'm all for that. I'm all for like all all genders, LGBTQ. I have nothing against that, but it's just the game lore and mechanics that I wish we had back. Like I wish we had like those second edition books, man. There was just full of content, pages and pages. I'm like, and now with fifth edition, like, man, I'm like, there's hardly anything here. And you guys are paying like $30, $40 for this shit. Last thing you heard was show ups later and adventure path. Oh, my ad. Yeah. The show ups later in adventure path. What was I talking about? Oh, okay. I was talking about the NPC that I was making. Um, well, not making an NPC in the Age of Worms. Uh, Yeah, there's an NPC that I'm trying to stat up, and I only needed the skill bonuses, but then I found out that the NPC is going to show up later, and so I got to stat it out for later. But I think that was what you missed. I think the other thing you missed was probably when I was talking about when you said you got the complete priest handbook. I was like, oh, you got the old school stuff, just like me. And I'm like, man, I miss the old school stuff. And I got a buddy that's just he makes fun of me about that. He's like, oh, you're like an old D&D boom. I'm like, hey, I'm not against progressivism within the game. Like we do need more diversity, you know, especially with the not just with the characters, but with the fantasy itself. Like I'm sick of Euro fantasy. I'm like, give me a mix. Give me Indian fantasy. Give me Asian fantasy. Give me Mesoamerican fantasy. Give me uh, West African fantasy. Like I want all of that. Like I'm just sick of Euro fantasy. It's boring the fuck out of me right now. Like if I see another Chimera, or if I see another anything based on like any European culture now, it's like, okay, I get it. I've been through this a million dozen times. Give me something fucking new. And do it respectfully. Um, but yeah. Uh, no, what I miss is okay. So here's the comparison I always make: the Forgotten Realms third edition book. Yeah, okay. Like I'm sure you remember the third edition Forgotten Realms book. It's still a great book for like anyone, right? And it came with a poster map. They don't do poster maps anymore. Like what the fuck? Anyway, that book was like what 300 and something pages, 360 pages. You know what? I actually have the whole thing, the whole because I make this argument all the time, and I like have it written down. Uh, sort of. Okay, here it is. All right, the Forgotten Realms third edition book is 335 pages. And I found out from a designer, Sean K. Reynolds. He said it was about 220,000 word count. Because if you remember the book, the font was it was small, but I didn't mind it being small because it was still legible, and you were able to fit more in the book because the font was smaller instead of being this fucking big. Um, the book was $43 with tax, and the book covered like all the regions in Faerun, even a little bit. It had a whole list of deities. It had a good it had a good chunk of like prestige classes. It covered the races. It added new races. It had spells in it. Had feats. It had and all that, and it had a 10th level. Was it 10th level? Anyway, it had like a mid or high level adventure at the end of the book. It even had a little adventure for you to use. It had all that for $43. And now you look at the Sword Coast Adventurer Guide for 5th edition. That one's only 161 pages, so about a 40,000 word count. Uh, and I'm shoot, yeah, 40,000, and that's with the font that it has because the font's not this small. The font's actually like bigger. And the book was $30 with tax, and it only covers the Sword Coast region, and it barely had anything for the players in it. It had like a few backgrounds, and it had. I don't even think it had any new spells. Did it have any new spells in it at all? Yeah, I don't even think it had any feats. It didn't have anything for the. It barely had anything for the players. And the book only covered the Sword Coast region, and that's their campaign book for 5th edition Forgotten Realms. I'm like, what? That's it? Oh, the new. Yeah, I have that. Well, I have the PDF. Um, I do not. Well, I have the PDF, but that does not mean I support fifth edition monetarily. So I'll leave it to you how I got the how I have the PDF. But but yeah, no, I did look through that. Um, it it covers more than the Sword Coast. I'll give it that. I think it covers Kalimshan now, and well, the Dale Lands in it even. I skimmed through. I know Kalimshan was in it. I don't know what else it covered, but look how long it took. Right, I missed the region books. I just miss first, second, and third edition when they were rolling out the books, when they were rolling out the content, when they were rolling out. It was just a lot. I mean, yeah, some people are like, yeah, it was too much, and not everybody could afford spending all that every. I don't know. I don't know, that's my preference. I missed buying 2 to 3 books a month. It was at least back during third edition, it was like 2 books a month. Rarely three, but it was at least 2 books, and I get them. I don't give a fuck. It was worth it. It was worth getting them, and it just it's just so minimal now. It's really not a lot. And I always tell fifth edition players, if you want a lot more content, you're gonna have to go back to the older edition, because they'll be like, man, I wish this, or I wish they covered this, or I wish they covered that, or I wish they, or even with the game mechanics, I wish this was in the game, or I wish they did. I'm like, they have that. They had it. It was there. Uh, but it's not in fifth edition. Yeah, you could do that in D&D. They covered it in third edition. Oh, that? Yeah, you could do that in D&D. They covered that in second edition. But you got started with 5e, played Pathfinder 20 years ago. Remember nothing. Played a little bit of PF2E and 4e D&D. Ugh. I don't know your feelings on 4e D&D, but ugh. Ugh. Nobody liked it. I don't know if you did. I mean, you did great, but I know like 90% of the fucking gamers did not. Like I was pissed when they were rolling out the changes. They were showing the previews. I was like, this is not D&D. This is you're trying to take an MMO and put it on paper. I and you're changing the lore. I hate when they change the lore. I hate when they do that. Yes, yes, you're correct. They are. They are a lot better. I mean, you said so. You got the complete priest handbook. You got a whole handbook on just the priests for D&D. They don't do that anymore. They don't. What is there a cleric book for fifth edition? Nope. How much stuff is there for a cleric in fifth edition? Like what? They came out with like what, six domains in the core book? Like how many domains do clerics have now? After okay, so fifth edition came out in 2014. It's 2026. It's 12 years later, and there's like what domains? That's it. Psionics. I love psionics. Right, love them to death. I used to do psionics playtests for the company for Wizards of the Coast. I was one of the playtesters for the psionic material. And when they started doing it on the website, the Mind's Eye, let's see. You know what? That was what was cool about third edition. They had a lot of free stuff on the website. Free. Like books full of content for free. Um, Give me 1 second and I will show you. Shoot, hold on. Okay, is it here? Okay. Oh, is it not on the Wayback Machine anymore? Oh, it's loading. Look at this. This was the D&D 3.5 uh website. You tried to read your dad's 3.5 books as a kid and thought I was too dumb for D&D. Oh, no, 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 no. It, no, no, I don't think anybody's. I have a friend who's not very bright, and he was able to grasp D&D. No, they're not dumb for that. No, the third edition, or even second edition, like it's a lot of complex like rules and shit. Why is this not loading? Crap. All right. Well, anyway. All right. So this website, okay, this has the way back links for like all the third edition stuff. Like, look at how much stuff was like free. You have dyslexia and kind of like dyslexia, but for math, which is why I started with 5e because he did the math and tried it. Yeah, I could understand that. 5e is simpler with the math. There's not really a lot to add up. Whereas second edition, I'd say the one with the most math is definitely third edition. Um, that's because you get modifiers and penalties from like everywhere. It's like, hey, I'm standing on higher ground. I get a +1 extra bonus to attack. Or it's, hey, don't forget, he casted the spell. I got another +2 bonus. And oh yeah, I forgot. I'm sickened. I have a -2 to my saving throws. Does that go for attacks as well? Yeah, it is a lot to remember, but for some people, that's those details are fun. For others, not so much. Which is why I understand fifth edition being appealing. At the same time, fifth edition is lacking. It's lacking in. I mean, unless you go outside of Wizards of the Coast and you do third party stuff, okay, cool. But there's a lot of people that don't want to do third party stuff, and there's a lot of DMs out there that are like, no, you go to you'd have to find a DM and be like, "Hey, there's this book. It's not made by Wizards of the Coast. It's made by another company, but there's something in this book. I want to play this race, or I want to play this class. Will you allow it?" And you have to hope the DM says yes. Whereas if what you want is already in a D&D book, most DMs will say yes. They'll be like, "Yeah, okay, Wizards of the Coast published it. You can have it." Oh, you did look at the old website and the old, yeah, the Eberron content's on here. Let's do yeah, there's a bunch of Eberron shit. The Eberron World and Planar Calendar Utility. Was that on their website? It was. You don't see this in fifth edition. Like, if you go to the Wizards of the Coast page now, are you gonna find a utility calendar for Forgotten Realms in fifth edition? Like, boom, look at that. And Eberron has like what, 12, doesn't it have like 12 moons or something like that? Like, yeah, like this is beautiful. And you know how many Eberron people don't know this exists right now? Like the people playing 5th edition Eberron and probably I mean, I'm sure there's another calendar utility somewhere out there. I don't know. Is there? Is there the Eberron calendar tool? Okay, I guess there's some. Okay, you would have to. This person made it, but yeah, look at all this, man. Oh, this was free. This was free. So so like I said, I was one of the science playtesters, and we were playtesting some. I wrote the first article on the Mind's Eye. The Mind's Eye. Boom. I helped write this, if it loads. But anyway, I wrote some psionic powers. Yeah, there we go. Boom. I helped wrote this. Um, man, 2001. Ooh, it was 25 years ago. Yeah, the moons are tied to the planes. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I find that 2E showed you that you could play more math complex if I have a calculator. Yeah, but yeah, we were playtesting. You know, we were doing these articles right for D&D on their website, and you know, we had a whole bunch done. Shoot, um, all the way down here. The last one was some Ford's new Sonic monsters. Um, but yeah, they told us it was Scott Brocious and Mark Ginger. They told us they were like, so Wizards of the Coast told us, which I think it was from Hasbro. I think Hasbro fucked everything up. I don't want to put everything on Wizards of the Coast. Definitely Hasbro. They told us if it can be put into a book and sold, we can't put it on the website anymore. I'm like, so basically, what they told you is they don't want you to give free shit to your consumers, which is what was making your consumers happy. Was like, not only were we buying your books, but you were giving us more free. You were giving us free content on top of that, which was which is awesome. I mean, that's like getting a that's like getting a large fries and they put it in the bag, right? And then they take another scoop of large fries, like another scoop of fries, and they dump it in the bag. So like you already have your large fries, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna give you another scoop. You know how good that feels? Like it was like that with Dungeons and Dragons Third Edition. We got the books, and then they would do the web enhancements. The web enhancements were stuff that they couldn't fit in the book, and they gave it to you for free. They're like, "Oh, we couldn't fit this in the book, but we're gonna give it to you for free as a PDF online. Here you go, enjoy." They gave you free adventures. They gave you, oh man, it was great. It was great. They don't do that anymore. 3.5 still intimidates me because how many books that intimidates. Yes. Yes, I can understand. I have had converted players. I've had players from 5th edition and they loved it. They loved how much content there was. But then I also have there were 5th edition players that I got into my games and they were very intimidated. They they were like, "Wow, there's so much." And I would always tell them, don't let that scare you. You can make it very easy for yourself. Just stick with the core book. Don't look at the other stuff. Just stick with the core. And if and just ask your DM, hey, is there something like this in the game for me? And he'll show you if he's smart enough, like me. But I've had these play. I'll be like, hey, so what do you want for your character? Like, because there's like what 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 feats in the game, and it's time for them to pick a feat, and I'm like, okay, I don't expect you. I'm like, I guarantee half of those feats you don't even need to worry about, but I know it's pain in the ass looking through that many to find the one. that would suit your character. So tell me what you want your character to be good at. Tell me what you want your character to be able to do that they couldn't do before, and I will find you a feat for that. And so I have a player. Her name's Jen. She plays a druid, and she wasn't, there's a lot of feats, and she doesn't have a lot of time to like be looking through them all. So I told her, I'm like, hey, uh, what do you want your druid to be good at? Do you want your dwarven racial abilities to be better? Do you want to do better with your magic? Do you want to be able to craft items? Um do you want things for your wild shape? Like, do you want one of your class abilities to be better or to do something different? Um and she would tell me, and she picked pretty good few feats. I think she's level 6 now with her character. And so there was 3 feats that she picked. And they were pretty good. She picked Steely Stole, which made her dwarven like poison and magic. I think her dwarven magic resistance better. So she has like a +4 to her saves. And she picked. There was one I told her to pick because she's gonna be wild shaping a lot, and I'm like, you look like the type that you're gonna want to stay wild shape for a while. And she's like, yes. I'm like, you can't cast your spells while wild shape, but there's a feat that lets you do that. She's like, there you go. I want that feat. I want to be able to like turn to a raven or bear and still cast my spells. I'm like, perfect. Boom. That was easy, easy. Like Pie Fiend, some of the jokey ones. EDM 5e, and in the future after I read more Pathfinder 2e. Yeah, 2e, yeah, Pathfinder 2e, not a bad system. Not a bad system. It looks like a lot of fun. I find it very different than I personally think 1e Pathfinder and 2e Pathfinder are two completely separate games, like completely separate because they change so much. So and they retconned a lot of shit, which I hate. I hate retcons. I hate with the lore because I love the lore, and they retconned a lot of the lore. I'm like, I would never run a Pathfinder 2e game because I like 1e better. And there's still a lot of 1e. There's a ton of 1es. I mean, we just started 1e. Like, we just started Rise of the Rune Lords, the first adventure path. We're going to go through them all. I'm probably going to be dead before we get through the fifth one, but I'm going to try anyway. Maybe I'll try and speed run the second one. I'm gonna try to see if I can do a speed run. I'm gonna talk to my players and be like, "Can we speed run something?" Like very minimal role play. Let's just like get to the plot. Let's get to the action. Like I'm not gonna not take away all the role play. Like just do a little bit of role play here and there. But let's like just keep things moving. Let's just go boom, go to the next spot. Boom, go to the next thing. Because I have my games have a good mix. Like there's a lot of role play when there's no combat going on. There's definitely like role play. Like there's been sessions where I'm sitting there for a good 40 minutes. I don't gotta do a fucking thing. I'm just letting the players just role play it out. I'm sitting here like, cool. I'm like, this gives me time to prep, to do more prep work. You guys can spend half your session role playing. That's awesome. I've been a forever DM. I haven't really started playing until recently. I There was some streamers that was running a 3.5 game D&D, and we played for about I think 13 14 sessions, and then like half the group had to go on hiatus, and then when we were ready to play again, my schedule changed, which sucks. It's always a schedule. That's the number one enemy of D&D or any tabletop game is the fucking schedule. I uh my schedule changed. I'm like, I can't do the sessions. So, and then the DM ended up quitting. Like, I don't even think he was. I think he did one session. Yeah, he did one session, and then he ended up quitting. He was like, "Ah, the game's too much for me. I'm gonna go do other things." Just like that. And I was just like, "Oh, okay. Well, good luck." I'm like, I mean, thanks for running the game, thanks for DMing us. But uh, but I'm a player again now because every other Wednesday, one of my players, well, the one I was talking about before, Jen, she wanted to run Starfinder. I'm like, she wants to actually GM and run a game. I'm like, ooh, you ready for that? I'm like, but she's like, yeah, you're gonna help me, and I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. So I'm like a shadow GM. I'm her co-DM. Well, she calls me co-GM. I say shadow because I don't want to take any of her spotlight. So I'm like, no, 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 I'm your shadow GM. I'm gonna be back here, cheering you on and whispering. Um, I don't want to be standing side by side because it's your show, not mine. Uh, um, because I feel like I'll not on purpose. I don't want to like co-DM. If I co-DM, I'm gonna be like, well, let's do. I feel like I was like, no, no, no. Let me just step back. I don't want to. I think if I co-DM, I'll feel too much like a DM and not like a player. So that's the other reason I want to be more of the player. So I'm like, I'll shadow GM. But but uh, but yeah, she wanted to run Starfinder, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, which edition? Because now we have second edition Starfinder, which just started. So I'm like, it's new for all of us. I don't know anything about it. She doesn't know. The guy, our friends don't know. So it would be new for all of us. We'd all be learning at the same time. Um, and there's not as much stuff to mess around with, so it's not probably gonna be less complicated. Or do you want to do Starfinder First Edition, which has a ton of stuff, but we can keep it simple and make it just core, and just use the other stuff as we play, and it's still new for us, but also familiar because a lot of Starfinder First Edition game mechanics is very similar to Pathfinder First Edition. So, um, but it's also there's some new shit in there. So I'm like we'd all still be new, so we'd all be helping each other out. And she chose First Edition. I gotta hand it to her. She made the jump. She was just like, nah, we'll do First Edition. There's a lot more stuff in there, and she chose the first adventure path. She chose Dead Suns, and I'm like, smart, okay, because I think Dead Suns is going to have definitely the tools for a first time Starfinder GM. Um, so yeah, I'm in a Starfinder game as a player slash Shadow GM every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Um, and we had our first session, which you can find the broadcast to that on my channel still, and on her channel. She's a Cult of Emo, so give her a follow. Uh, Spelled just like how it sounds, Cult of Emo, but one word. Um, but where was I? Oh, yeah, we had our first session, not last Wednesday, Wednesday before that, and it went great. I was like, hey, shit, you got us locked in, and and the combat went pretty smooth because we all, you got veterans, and we all knew, we were able to help you with the combat because we already knew our shit, and we were able to make that run pretty smoothly. Um, and the role play was great. Like everything was great. She did the voice mods. Oh man, it was great. It was great. Um, but yeah. Uh, let's see. Was I on this one? Okay, yeah. I was trying to figure out. I don't know. I want to make her a lurk. But the lurk class is so. I wish there was a psionic Pathfinder version of the lurk class. Because the lurk class has so much potential. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this NPC. Um, it's the sister to a player for the game, and he thought she was dead, but she's actually alive. But she's a tainted one now, which is like which is like a human that's been given a concoction that transforms them into like a servant of the Yuanti. Of course, he doesn't know that. Um, and if he's watching, well, he better not. No, he's not watching. I hope not. He better not be. It's supposed to be a surprise, but I don't know what class to make her. And I thought about the psionic class lurk. So if I go to class, it's this class. It's from the Complete Psionics Handbook. No, not, I'm sorry. Oh, Complete Psionics Handbook. I went second edition. It's from the Complete Psionics third edition book. And it's basically kind of like a psychic rogue. Psychic. I mean, it's kind of like a psychic rogue slash assassin kind of type characters, but that get psionic powers. And but it's not as good as some of the Pathfinder psionic classes out there. I wonder if there's a Pathfinder lurk class. Okay, well somebody did it on this forum. If it loads, I don't know if it's my internet connection or. Alright, so anyway, while that's loading, yeah, I don't know what class to make her. Because I plan on having her. Well, I don't want her to be the type to fight her brother. I'm having her. She's gonna be end up fighting her brother, but she's. I don't want her to be the type to fight her, like fight him up front. Because he's a gunslinger and he's been killing everything in my games pretty quickly and easily. So I always have to like adjust the encounters so that he's not killing them so quick, and also to make sure that he's being harassed enough to where he has to like lay low in most of the fights. Because gunslingers are fucking OP. Jesus Christ. I heard gunslingers in Pathfinder Second Edition are not as good. I don't know if they fixed that with remaster. I don't know. I know Second Edition gunslingers, remastered gunslingers. I don't know. I don't know if they've made them good now. I heard the Second Edition ones were meh. This is homebrew. Yeah, no. I don't really care for this. I mean, I just have to use the lurk the way it is, really. Well, she's not going to really be fighting him up front. Alright, well, in that case. But, I was in the middle of doing this. character. And I was picking out his rogue talents, and I picked brute evasion, certainty, for perform, for bluff, and it's still one, two, three more rogue talents. You know what? I don't really need to do these rogue talents for. I have what I need. I have the skill bonuses. I don't have the feats for this fucking character. I still gotta pick one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine more feats for this NPC. But they're not gonna be fighting this. They might not ever have to fight this. And that's the thing that sucks with like getting the stats to making stats is like there's been times I've spent like an hour or 2 hours on like an NPC, like oh, I gotta stat them out, get them ready for a fight. Only to find out that one of two things happen. Either my characters take them out in the fight quickly, like 1 or 2 rounds, they took the damn guy out anyway, or two, they don't end up fighting them at all. And I'm like, well, shit. And there's been times where I didn't have stats ready for a fight. I just had like the basics. I'm like, this is their class, and here's some of their skills, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then suddenly my PCs are like fighting them. And I'm like, what? Okay, I don't have all the stats to this. And I don't want this to be a washover fight. If you're gonna fight this person, now I gotta fucking stat them. Alright, session's done. You're gonna have to give me some time to prep work. You know what time is it? It's 12:30? What time is her? Okay, well, I will be right back. Somebody accidentally printed from my printer. One of my neighbors? How do I lock my printer from somebody? I locked from somebody in my neighborhood using my printer. Because I didn't print that, and neither did my wife. That's freaky. Um, alright, I don't need to do the ominous fable stats. I really need to work on Lilith. The story with her is she got really sick. Her and her brother were slaves to her Yuan-Ti master. The Yuan-Ti master, instead of getting her healed, he was frustrated that day. She was sick and wasn't doing her duties. And he grabbed her and tossed her in a pit of vipers. It's fucked up, right? So yeah, the player, that's how the player lost his sister. Thing is, he never saw what happened to her after that. Like he didn't see the body. So, you know how they say, yeah, if you don't see a body, they might still be alive. Never saw the body. He just saw them tossing her into the room with the vipers. So he assumed she was dead. Truth is, she didn't die. She actually survived because of an innate power she has. And I wasn't sure whether to make this arcane magic, like her sorcerer magic was released in her desperation to survive and not die from these vipers that were like swarming on her, or psionics if I wanted her to awaken her psionic talent. And I'm like, well, if I pick psionics, what class should she be? I'm like, do I pick wilder? Because that would make sense. Or do I have her become a lurk? Because I want her to be rogue in a sense. I want her, because when her powers manifested, they, the Yuan-Ti master took her back out. He's like, oh, get her back out. Because he realized she could be of use. And he secretly helped her develop those powers. And of course, she was never willing to like serve them. So what they did was, well, we're gonna use our ritual to transform you into a tainted one. And so they did. And so now she's like in their service wholeheartedly after the transformation, and because that's what it does. And developed her abilities, and he wanted to use her. The Yuan-Ti Master wanted to use her as somebody to infiltrate in like humanoid societies and kill, do some assassination type missions. So that's why I thought about making her a lurk, so she got the psionics and like the abilities to like help her accomplish her job. At the same time, I also thought sorcerer, but it's kind of hard to make a roguish type of sorcerer. I mean, there's magic that could help, like invisibility and other things, but they don't get a lot of spells to choose and keep. So I guess I know what I'm saying is I wanted to be more versatile. There's not. It's the same with lurk though, so I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Because lurks only they choose powers. They have a limited set of powers also. Um, and I thought about making her both. There is a prestige class that combines a psionic user and a magic user, arcane magic user. But I don't know. I think I'm just gonna stick with Lurk. I mean, I have a feeling I'm gonna make her into the Lurk and give her all her shit, and then realize maybe there's something, and probably realize, oh wait, I know what I could make her instead. I gotta keep it simple though. So Lurk it is. Fuck it. Even if it's not Pathfinder version, we're going to make her a Lurk. And there she is. All right. So far, I've done her stats. No, I have not. Have I done her stats? I have not done her stats. Did I roll for her stats? I don't even think I rolled. My NPCs I usually roll for the stats. we have, okay, so I got an 18, 14, 12, 10, and 3 10s. Okay, and as a human, she gets +2 to her scores. I use the Pathfinder races for my D&D games. So humans and Pathfinder get a +2 stat boost to any of their scores. And Lurks, I think, is intelligence based with their powers too. Powers, yeah, intelligence. So she's gonna be super smart, but I also need her pretty dexterous. So we're gonna do we're gonna do 18 intelligence. And we're gonna do, I guess, 16 dex. And everything else is, where am I gonna put 12? We're gonna do 10 there. Probably 10, 10. We'll do 12 here. Alright, that's her score. I don't know what level to make her. I'm probably gonna make it the same level as, yeah. She's gotta be at least as good as her brother. I want that way she's been training like crazy. Because he thought she died some years ago. Fuck it. We'll make a level 15. I gotta do a 15th level NPC. This is gonna be fucking fun. Oh god. 15d8 with the hit points. She is a humanoid human. Oh, you know what? I gotta look up Tainted Ones. Where's... Oh, there it is. Yeah. This book. Did one. These. The Yuan-Ti. Okay, no, that's a Revenant. We're not doing Revenants. We're doing Boom. The Yuan-Ti. We're doing these guys, Tainted Ones. Now, this one is if the transformation is successful, and this one is if the transformation was not successful. They turn into these ugly ass fucking things. And they're called Histachi. Tainted One and Brood Guards. Yeah, that's what they are. Well, Histachi is the Yuan-Ti name. They can be added to any human. The template uses all the base creature statistics and special abilities except as noted here. As base creatures, Brood Guards do not wear armor. As base creature, Tainted Ones also gain a poisonous bite, but this is useless in combat situations. They give, yeah, the transformation activates Latin psionic potential. So they're able to use poison and polymorph into snake. Oh, she can turn into a snake. Or snake-like forms. Poison bite. Raged. Oh, Blue Guards get this. Who is printing? Somebody's printing from my printer. I'm turning this off. I guess somebody was like, "Oh, my paper didn't print," so they printed another sheet, the same exact one. What are they printing? Independent contractor profile form with Arch Express Incorporated? What is this? Position, education, vocational training to the best of my knowledge, accurate and truthful. Is this a job application? What is this? Somebody's printing from my printer. I don't know. I turned my fucking printer off, wasting my goddamn ink. Tainted ones get +2 to Constitution. Brood guards +2 Dex, and well, she's not a brood guard. -4 intelligence and -4 charisma. Oh, I can see why. Tainted ones and brood guards gain alertness as a bonus feat into their heightened senses. All right, so she's gonna have alertness. Okay, manifest third level. Yeah, in D&D, they call psionic users manifestors, not casters. But I bet you when D&D psionics comes out, it's going to be casters. Man, I didn't even get on my psionics rant. One year after 3rd edition came out, they had a psionics book with not one, 2 classes. Psion and Psychic Warrior. Here we are, 5th edition D&D, 12 years after its release, and we still don't have a psionic class. We've had 4 playtests. 4 psionics playtests. They did playtest 1, 2, 3, gave up. They gave up. And now just last year, because I think it's almost been a year now, they did a new psionics playtest for 5.5e. And we haven't heard anything since. They just hate psionics. I don't know. Man, I feel bad for you 5e people. It's 12 years, you got 1 new class. You have what? You have Artificer. That's it. Then we had what? 8 years. We had 8 years of D&D 3.5. You know how many classes we got? Granted, not all of them were great. A lot of them needed. Well, I wouldn't say a lot of them, but there's definitely a good chunk of them that needed to be redone because they weren't well made. But still, we had about like 50 classes, 50 around there. Started with 12 and ended up with like close to 40 more new ones. So anyway, I digress. Manifesto level 15th level. Alert. Manifesto level check. Plus 15. Concentration is going to be 15 based on intelligence. So 19. Not a spell, but power. The psionic powers, power saves. There's nothing prohibited. There's no. This is I copied this from the witch. Psionic powers known. Powers known. They don't. I have yet to use 0 level powers, but at the moment, I think the 4th level. The 4th level powers, level 15. Supreme Mind. 5th level. Okay, 5th level powers. And 15 of them. Alright. a tiefling, you're a painted one. And we're going to copy. Oh, I add the Constitution. So Constitution is 14. Which is going to give you an extra 30 hit points to your, which thought you were max with the first one, 38 plus. Okay. Initiative plus 3. Speed 30 feet. AC is going to be at 13 from Dex. We'll do armor and all that other shit later. Base attack. Uh, 11, and then good reflex and will save, so 599. Alright. Combat maneuver bonus 11. No bonus from strength. Combat 21 plus the 3 from dex. 11 melee. 11 plus 15 ranged. She's gonna be a ranged lurker. I wonder if I can make her a lurk with guns. I give her like psionic shot. Okay, I'm starting to feel this a little more. I think is there anything ranged for lurks that's good? Hopefully. Full attack. She has 3 attacks. I want her to be able to reload fast too, though. Oh, we'll see. We'll see special attacks. We're gonna leave these blank right now. Psionics, what'd I say? 599. Yeah, 599. Reflex is 12. That's plus 7 for that. Alright, so for the Chaotic Evil, he speaks Common, Tashalon, Cholton, Yuan T, Draconic. There's 2 more languages I gotta pick. Don't know about flaws yet. Skills and feats. Well, we're going with Lurk, and we're gonna give her background feats. Skills as well. She's gonna have 30 points for that. Lurks get 6, right? I believe they get 6. Why do I keep doing that? 4. 4? Ah, okay. Yeah, I guess. I really thought they would have gotten 6, so they get 4. Okay. Human. Ooh, a favorite class option. Maybe I could have it where like she gets a new power. I might be able to give her a bunch of powers. I'm gonna figure out a favorite class option for her. But for the time being, she's gonna have 8 times 15 skill points. And she gets one for human. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15. I got to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 feats for her. I already have a good idea of a few feats I want for her to have. Powers known. 15 powers. It's gonna go 3 for first, 3 for second, 3, 3, 3. Interesting. Alright, so 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Oh, PowerPoints. Let's figure out our PowerPoints. So she will start with, she has 67, but she does get bonus PowerPoints with an intelligence of 18 at level 15. She gets a bonus 30, so that should be 97 PowerPoints. Background. Well, let's give her linguistics. Do like 4 points from there. Background skills. Background skills. Praise, artistry, craft, handle animal, knowledge, geography, knowledge, history. I want to give her knowledge history because she always told her brother stories. Knowledge history. Perform? Profession. Sleight of hand. Okay, so we will do HJK. Knowledge. History. I'm going to do 6 points there. Definitely sleight of hand. Do 8. I want her to perform string? No, wind instruments. Hey, those are the main background skills. So if I got 6 points left, let's do 2 more in here, 2 more there, 2 more there. Right. Definitely gonna give her acrobatics. We're gonna max that fucker out. Definitely want to make her stealthy. We're gonna max that fucker out. Hey! What is going on, Emu? Who I have in here? Oh, what's up, Bazzy? I didn't even know he was in here. Hey, Bazzy and Gift. Gabby, you're still in here. I'm going to give a shout out to Cold Emo because she was awesome and she is back at streaming at least the Starfinder games. Shout out. What campaign is this? Is for Age of Worms because I had to put that on hiatus. Um, because I did a bad DM thing. I didn't prep ahead of time. Bad DM. God, fucking bad. I did not prep enough ahead of time, and so we haven't played in like 3 weeks. I told him I know 2 weeks, 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. So I told him I will let you know when I'm ready. I could be another 2 weeks. It could be another month. I don't know. I'm constantly distracted and constantly not focused. So we'll see. But yeah. No, actually, I I put it off way too long. They're on chapter 8, so it's 12 chapters in Age of Worms, and they just about to start chapter. They're like in between 7 and 8, right? They're on downtime. So they've got 4 chapters left. So they're 2/3 of the way through. Well, no, if you count 8, it's more like 5. Okay, almost 2/3 of the way through. But anyway, there's 6 of them, and they like to roleplay a lot, and there is a lot of character and story development that's been kind of like pushed to the side, and now we're at a point where if I don't work on those like subplots and side quests and character development now, I'm going to be cramming it in towards the end, which is just bad. I mean, as I'm probably bad writing if you're trying to write a book and like you imagine reading a book and like you're waiting for things to actually pop off and it's not till like the last 3 chapters of the book and everything finally just squeezes in. You're like, why couldn't you spread this out like throughout the book? Why? Yeah, I know. Such a weird fucking thing to do in tabletop games, Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder, and God forbid it happens in Daggerheart. I would like to play a Daggerheart game. Like, definitely with you. Like, I've I'm one of your players and you're one of mine. It would be fun to be in a game together where we're all players. And somebody we don't really know is the GM. But I would like to do a Daggerheart game. There's nothing too crazy game mechanically about Daggerheart either. It's actually Daggerheart's very, very, very heavily like narrative and like storytelling. Both in the player and the GM's perspective. There's game mechanics, but it's not a whole lot. It's not like it's nothing crazy. I've read the book and I'm like, oh, I'll need to read it a few more times to get it to lock in, but it wasn't crazy at all. It's really no math. I mean, there's math, but barely any. So it would be cool. I think Critical Role's got a Dagger Heart. Well, not Critical Role. Brennan Mulligan. He swore one of them was running Dagger Heart. Was doing a Dagger Heart campaign. I know one of them was. Yes. I'm torn. I'm torn. Like, okay, should I just make it? It's got to be a very, very Faye slash Nixie answer. And I thought about making it something so ridiculous that you can get it done within the day, or should I make it so ridiculous that it's a side quest? I was stuck debating that in the moment, and I'm like, either way, either whichever I choose for the story, I still don't know what it's gonna be. Like if I choose the short one, I don't know what she wants, and if I choose the one that might be a little side quest, I still don't know what it wants. I'm like, what would a Nixie want? It's got to be something. Obviously, I want it to be something like related to her personality, as well as to her nature, as well as to the Fae. I'm like, okay, how do I combine all three of that? And I also, and because Fae is so whimsical and well, whimsical in many ways, either dangerously whimsical or stupidly whimsical or fun and whimsical. I want it to be memorable. So Just give it. And you know what? The fact that it was Xandak and the Vow, that's what makes me want it to be like a little side quest. A little, how far will Xandak go to rescue the one that he loves from the wily clutches of Fey magic? Because I gotta admit, I'm like, hold on, I think the Nixie does have a name. They have not given a name yet. I'm trying. Actually, she probably would have introduced herself, but not at that moment. She'll probably find another chance to. But um, but yeah, she's taking a liking to. I think what's also scary is nobody knows she's admitted to like charming others, but has not really said what's happened to them. So to the fires of Mordor. But yeah, I'm trying to develop story elements for 6 players. And not just that, because like I've opened throughout the other earlier chapters, I've opened up things and haven't put any closure to them yet. Like I have a boogeyman in their hometown that's just been terrorizing them and is fully capable of terrorizing the citizens if it wanted to. It's just not doing it because it's it's a boogeyman and it doesn't want too much attention. It doesn't want to get hunted down. It just wants to fuck with enough people to and it's actually called like it's a fey creature called a boogeyman. The name of the boogeyman is Lord Zeedle D. Lord Zeedle D. And I never had a background for him. And I'm like, okay, I need to put some closure to this little side plot. It has not the, Lord Zeedle D has nothing to do with Age of Worms. I had I was just look I love monster books. And I'll even read like real world mythology and like I just love creatures and divine beings and fucking and weird creatures and so I'm always reading the D&D and the Pathfinder monster books and I'll read over and over. I'll read the same fucking ones because like I get inspirations from like just reading the monster. I'm like, man, you could come up with so much shit from just this one thing, or just one thing that they're good at, or one thing that they know, or like, it's just crazy how much you can get from just reading one monster. And I was came upon the Boogeyman. I've read the Boogeyman stats uh quite a few times, but for some reason I was looking at him again, and I'm like, and I had the idea for like a Boogeyman character, and I'm like, fuck it, let me make it. And I make it, and then I introduce it. And then after I introduce it, I'm like, oh shit, now I gotta do more with it. Because they didn't kill it. Because I didn't want him to be killed. I wanted him to fuck with the characters. And it has nothing to do with the Angel. It has nothing to do with the adventure. And I'm starting to think like, is this a subconscious level of me just like, you know what? These players like I'm tired of them steamrolling my enemies. Let me make something to just really fuck with them and keep them scared for their lives every time they go to bed at night. Oh, is it under my bed? Is it in my closet? Anyway, let's try to live his 9 to 5. Oh man, let me show you. Actually, hold on. It's a Pathfinder creature, but there it is. Boogeyman. Dressed in a long dark coat and a tall hat. Yeah, the image. Let me get the Pathfinder image of the boogeyman. This dude. But that's not what Lord Zeedle looks like. That's just an average, I guess, boogeyman. Like, yeah, I know what you're gonna say. I'll say it for you. Smash. Oh, here's another one. And I like this one. This one's cool too. Actually, that one's creepy because it's got child's toys on the fucking on his fucking outfit. That's kind of creepy. Yeah. And there's tentacles coming out of his face. Yeah. Oh, piece of kid. um, but no, Lord Zeedle D, the image. I wonder if I could pull up. I have his own image. Quests. Actually, you know what? I have him in roll 20. Um, Actually, first of all, let me sign the roll 20 without well, accidentally. Well, no, well the password would be. Ah, I'm already logged in. Okay. I'm like, do I have to retype my password in there? Go to Age of Worms. Oh, I tried to put like a background banner for the Starfinder game for Dead Suns, but it wouldn't let me because I guess I'm only able to control the stuff in the game, not like the actual um 'cause the banner's blank. I'm like, I want to put the Dead Suns banner there, and I was like, oh shit, I can't. Um, Zeedle, please tell me I have this. I don't have it. What? Oh, um, this. Okay, no, yeah, this is him. That's the one I chose for Lord Zeedle. You're like, oh, I don't like him. Yeah, that's the one. But like, I like the stats because like, well, I like the what they say they are. First of all, they're fey creatures, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, cool, all right. It makes sense. That it's not an undead being. What else could it be, right? Um, See, many believe that the most cruel and mischievous Fae become boogeymen as a punishment or reward for their actions. Others see boogeymen as supernatural, and I like this last part. Others see boogeymen as supernatural manifestations of society's willingness to do itself harm. I was like, and that's. I kind of combined the origins because I did finally do Lord Zeedle's background, and he was originally another fey creature. And I I did write out why he ended up eventually becoming a boogeyman. And then the town that they're in, Daggerford, the the Society of Daggerford's willingness to do itself harm over the years further strengthened Lord Zeedledee. So I kind of just combined the two origins. Yeah, that's what it's like this in D&D and in Pathfinder. The nature of Fae. It's like some of them or a lot of them like they're not just like nature creatures. They come from like aspects of things that are natural in the universe. Like there's a fey creature that's based off of the bloodlust and rage that is felt and experienced in war. And that's like, and there's like another fey creatures that's just like based on, like their origin is based on what was it? Oh no, I've seen some. You know, like how like dryads are supposed to be like the fey aspect. They're supposed to be like the nature aspect of like a tree. It's supposed to be like the symbiosis of like with trees. Um, there's a version of there's a fey version of I mean, well, they're both fey dryads, and there's another fey creature based off the dryad, but they represent the, I think, the sunset. Was it the dawn? Might have been both. I think it was like they represent like the beauty and the the symbolic natural aspect of like the dawn and the sunset. And they I forgot what they were called. So with an H, but so they're like they're like dawn sunset dryads. It's pretty cool. But the Magnus Archives? No. What are the Magnus Archives? Ooh, okay. It's a weekly horror fiction anthology podcast. Oh, okay. I have to listen to a few of these because, man, back in second edition D&D, Ravenloft, fucking Ravenloft, man, old old school Ravenloft, Ravenloft, second edition, not Scooby Doo fifth edition. I'm gonna go on a fucking fifth edition Ravenloft rant if I don't stop. Yes, second edition fucking Ravenloft. The good Ravenloft. The only thing bad about second edition Ravenloft was there was definitely some racially tone deaf fucking um uh like NPCs, or I think even some of the domains, but uh they fixed that with, I'll give them that, they did fix that with like fifth edition Ravenloft. But other than that, second edition Ravenloft like is way better. There's some entities and some of them are formed from fears or extreme emotions. Yeah, yeah, like they would be considered like fey creatures in like D&D or Pathfinder. Definitely Pathfinder. Definitely Pathfinder. Pathfinder has a lot of like what you're talking about. Beings formed from like fears and extreme emotions. Those would be, they would categorize that as fey creatures, especially definitely the evil ones in like a Pathfinder game. And I think D&D kind of does that to an extent. I don't. They're the Fey lore between like the D&D Fey and Pathfinder Fey. Some of it overlaps, but there is a little some differences. But they're it's blurred together. It's really hard to explain what the difference is. It's extremely fucking nuanced, really. But I know for sure Pathfinder what does that a lot. Because I've seen a lot of their like they, especially a lot of the evil, even the good and neutral fate, but a lot of like the evil fate creatures are definitely based off of that kind of shit. Well, yeah, the Boogeyman's one of them. There's one that's worn horrific. Yeah, let me I'm gonna pull up they were called Rage Winds. Yep. Do I have an encyclopedic knowledge of D&D? Too much D&D shit? Yes, I do. My buddies always compliment me on that. They're like, And they will go out their way to compliment me on that to other people. Like, I think Pichardo's done it before already. He's like, this man has like, he's like a computer system when it comes to with D&D. Yeah, I'd like to get like that with Pathfinder. So it's like I'm constantly reading like Pathfinder lore and now Starfinder. So eventually one day I will get there. You know, we're still, it's going to come a point where we're playing Starfinder, and I'm just like, yeah, I know about this and that, and then this place is actually connected to that. Oh, and in this book, it was actually this and that, and oh yeah, these guys are in this organization, and I'll get there one day. It'll happen. Um, which is I wish I know. I wish earlier in my I wish I could tell my younger self like, hey, fucking be a goddamn work in the damn tabletop industry, even if you don't want to do the writing, you could definitely do the bookkeeping. Like, I would not mind doing the bookkeeping. Or like whoever's in charge of like the lore and making sure like this book doesn't contradict anything that's like in this book. Like the editorial type shit, like for a TTRPG. I would actually have fun doing that. I would probably do creations. I have created. I've made psionic powers. I showed you the book I was in, and I was writing psionic powers. But when I wrote those powers, someone else edited that. Someone else was like, okay, cool power, but this part of it needs to be more clear, and this part kind of makes it OP. Because there was a power I made, and it was overpowered, and I didn't see it until I play tested it. I made it and then I brought it into a game, and then my buddy Rick was playing a psychic warrior, so he chose it. So he was my playtester for the power, and he would spam it, and I would hate it, and I would be like, "Fuck, I don't like this." But how do I tell him, "Hey, I know you're having fun with this, but it's really wrecking the game balance. It's really wrecking the combat. It's too overpowered for what it's doing. I need to change it." Um, So yeah, it was called Bend Space. It was supposed to be a power where if you got hit, it would redirect the kinetic energy damage back to your attacker. So like if somebody hits you with the sword, you with if you had Bend Power, not Bend Power, Bend Space, if you had that on activated, um, and you took like 8 damage from the longsword, that 8 damage would just get redirected back to the attacker. um Automatically, no saving throw, no any. And yeah, it was spammed and overpowered, and so they actually edited that for me. When I sent it in, they changed it to a manifesto level check, and I'm like, oh, why didn't I think of that? They had it where like you make a you make a manifesto level check, which is 1d20 plus your manifesto level, right? So like the stronger you are, the stronger the power, the stronger, the easier it is for you to bend space. Um, you make that against the enemy's attack roll. So if the enemy got a total of 24, okay, you need to roll, and if you got 24 or higher, you successfully redirected the attack and the enemy. I was like, you know what? That is far more balanced. Why didn't I fucking think of that? I would just take hit after hit. No, it was my buddy Rick. He's in the Age of Worms games, but you probably rarely ever see him because he's there for like the first maybe hour before he conks out. Hour and a half. I don't know. I think he wanted to join just because he misses the game, but he's also I think he's just like I don't know. Unless if I'm DMing him online, it's way harder to like get his attention. And I've put him in situations where he's had the role play, and he has, and he does a great job of role playing. He's just like I don't know what mental. I'm like, you got ADHD, but on like a level I have never fucking heard of before. Like he's not autistic. He's got like Super Saiyan ADHD. or something. Because I'm like, I don't know anyone with ADHD like yours, and you're not autistic, so I don't know what the fuck. Tony fell asleep once. Yeah, but it's because he was laying down with his daughter. Was he laying down with his daughter, trying to like get her to sleep or something? I think that's what he said. But no, no, Rick was, well, he'd apologize at least. He'd be like, "Man, sorry, I've been working really hard, and I gotta get up early in the morning." Like I said, he'll be there the first hour, hour and a half of the game, and then he's just suddenly silent, and like we'll be like, "Oh, Rick, it's your turn," or "Rick, what are you doing?" Or what's Xander doing? Well, how does Xander? And it sucks because there's been so many role play moments that was perfect for his character. It's like this is the part where Xander would say something. This is a situation where Xander would absolutely say something. Silence. So I'm trying with him. I'm trying to find more things to like put him more in the spotlight so that he. But what sucks is like I've done that before. I've put him more in the spotlight, and then he still disappears or falls asleep or gets distracted or whatever the fucking case is because I know he's doing something else in the background. He's either watching the show or he's fucking on a video game or whatever. This is why I like the cameras on. Thank you for leaving like for like being fully present. Cause like I understand someone who may be like really really camera shy and they don't want to see. I'm like, cool. You could. Yeah, there's a thing where you could turn that off. You don't have to see yourself. But then there's people who like really don't want anybody to see them. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. If you're that type of person, I ain't gonna give you shit about it. If you're not that type of person, and you have your fucking video camera off. I get, I get miffed. I will be very miffed. I'll be like, why isn't it on? Why? I like to see the emotion. I as a DM, I like to see the emotions on your face. Like I like to see your reactions. I like to see how you. I like all of that. Oh, you didn't tell me. I didn't see on the calendar what time. I thought it was at one, honestly. Oops. Yes, it does. Yeah. So, no, Carrie has a hair appointment at 2, and I usually make her breakfast or something to eat. Well, not breakfast. It's like she works overnight, so it's her it's breakfast for her. And I did check to see what time, and I couldn't find one anywhere. It just said she has a hair appointment. I'm like, well, she set an alarm. She'll wake up, and she's up, and she's saying, I don't have time to eat, which is her way of saying, I should have made something for her so that she can eat and be out the door. Anyway, oops. Uh, it's which one do you go to? The one on Big Ben? I gotta make us something real quick. Anyway, um, yeah, yeah, I heard you. Well, which one do you go to? The one on Big Ben? Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, I was looking at Rage Wind. Okay, Rage Walker. Ooh, okay, this thing. Yep, right here. Rage Walkers embody natural forces of war and combat the same way a nymph embodies the beauty of nature or a dryad embodies the heart of its tree. And this is what they look like. Smash. Really? Really? You gotta run some errands. You'll be on later. Okay. I'm probably gonna be logging off myself, but I'll be on. I'll be streaming Marvel Rivals probably. But all right. I'll catch you later. Yeah, I know. I should get some planning done. See, I'm already thinking about Marvel Rivals and getting distracted. I should get planning done. You're right. But I am gonna put this I am gonna stop this broadcast so I can get some shit done and then come back to it. So I you're right. I will get back to planning. I'm at least going to get one NPC done. I'm gonna get one NPC statted out and at least get that. But yeah, I know, right? I was cooking on Rivals for 8 hours. Don't know how that happened. But all right, Jen, take care. And I will be back streaming on later. Take care, everyone.